Super Trades! I wanted to do a video analysis update on a few stocks that I saw on the strangle screen today during the session. They're not on the strangle screen anymore. They're Cloudflare, Medical Properties Group, and Salesforce. I want to touch on at least one meme stock, maybe a few, to open the video though. We had a very interesting observation from this stock twit user that I thought was quite interesting. SPCE. The last tweet from Roaring Kitty on 5/17, and this session's action today frightens me. And I think that this was a bull post. You know, he's kind of implying that this session's action plus a tweet from Roaring Kitty on 5/17 is one of the reasons that he's frightened about what could happen potentially to the upside if I'm interpreting that post. And I'm obviously just going to be expressing my own opinions in this video. I own SPCE Leaps. I bought the $1 strike call for $58, expiring December of 2025. So I'm holding that, and I expect in the big picture, this is an IPO base. This is a large wave 1, an ABC wave 2. Using these time fibs, starting with the beginning of wave 1 and measuring it with the end of this wave A correction, we get this nice 13-week time fib right after this all-time low. And also, in addition to that, these Fibonacci extensions, the length of wave A placed at the wave B high has also been met for the 100% extension. So institutions have been buying straddles and strangles on SPCE. Today, we saw them buy very unusual amounts. It's not necessarily unusual because it had a big move, but statistically it was an unusual options volume amount for Virgin Galactic, 94% call bias. And I thought it was interesting, 100,000 of these contracts, 100,000 of these contracts expire this week for the 1.05 strike. So that was a good amount of these. It's honestly pretty safe to say the biggest portion of this trade was expiring this week. So I don't endorse gambling, but the MMs, I wouldn't be surprised if they got that 1.5 hit even as quick as this week. That would be interesting. I'm not betting on that or anything like that, but I do suspect the MMs have big plans for Virgin Galactic. I thought this was really interesting. He's decoding a Roaring Kitty post. Why would Roaring Kitty know anything about Virgin Galactic? You know, I had some ideas that Roaring Kitty was subliminally telling people in some group potentially to look at the charts of the pot stocks right before, the day before. And I posted about this the day before Joe Biden federally reclassified marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. At least that's what he said he was going to do the very next day. And it caused a nice little spike in the pot stocks. I also talked about Sony and a stock called Fury. Yes, he tweeted the stock ticker Fury, and I noticed that FURI had been reporting earnings the day that he posted that stock ticker. And then when the earnings report came out, the stock was up about 26% the next day. So anyway, I also posted about Sony, and I noticed other people talk about maybe implying that he had been talking about Workhorse and other stuff, all very interesting. So this is kind of cool. And within the cycle from this low, the market can pull correlations out of nowhere. I don't think it's anything to scoff at that silver is ripping into this wave 3 of wave 3. Wow. All these meme stocks are starting to come back to life. Wasn't that the big plan all along, that the silver squeeze and the Gamestop and Reddit squeeze were going to be the GameStop and AMC squeeze and all types of squeezes. They were talking about American Airlines and First Majestic Silver and Palantir, Rocket Mortgage. I mean, a whole host of stocks. Nokia, BlackBerry, obviously, but I do suspect that Virgin Galactic's going to hold above 0.70, and I am looking for it to begin a wave 3 of wave 3. I own an even number of leaps on Virgin Galactic, so obviously I think that's going to do well. I've talked about AMC. I own AMC. It's had a little bit of a pop today, then it retraced it. I've talked about this being a large wave 1, wave A, this being a wave A, B, C correction, and I'm holding AMC. I'm waiting for a fundamental event, but I took these time fibs. The beginning of this wave 1, wave A connected with this wave 1, wave A high gives an 8-week time fib. If things got really crazy for AMC, this could have marked a super cycle low potentially for wave 2, wave B. And institutions have been buying all kinds of straddles and strangles on AMC. I'll just show you guys my work because I own AMC. So I did this just for myself. That this could be, not really a useful stop right now for AMC. It did kind of take off, but I do still own it, and I'm going to keep holding it like I said. If this does play out, the length of wave 1 placed at the wave 2 low is a minimum wave 3 target. It ended at the 78.6% retracement. Most likely AMC would go beyond that, have a shallow wave 4 correction, and begin a wave 5 higher. In Elliott wave, if wave 5 retests the wave 1 high, if wave 4 retests the wave 1 high, and wave 5 is the length of wave 1 placed at the wave 4 low, that could give AMC a longer term target, even within the daily count. 1, 2, wave 3, the target would be 13.36 minimum. If there was a shallow wave 4 that retested the wave 1 high, and wave 5 was at least the length of wave 1 placed at the wave 4 low, one shortcut to find the entire 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves impulse target is by taking the length of wave 1 and then placing it at the wave 1 high. That takes AMC to 20. In my opinion, that would just end this red wave 3 within the cycle from this low. So that's AMC. I'll talk about GameStop for a sec. But before I do, another stock that's been on this strangle screen, and the stock market can pull really interesting correlations out of nowhere. Not necessarily out of nowhere. There's been a group of investors and traders that they've done their due diligence. They've had their eye on this correlation. And they even talked about things like the merger of DWAC into Truth Social, now becoming DJT. They talked about a lot of this stuff, and they talked about these correlations with DJT and the meme stocks. So yes, now we have GameStop exploding. Trump trial is trending, and I can tell you from a technical standpoint, institutions are buying straddles and strangles on this company, and I can tell you what my long-term technical opinion is. I do not have any plans of investing in this company at this time, but I do see it on the strangle screen a lot. I see it on the strangle screen a lot, and I'll give you guys my technical opinion why I would not ever short this personally is because in the long term, this can be going to the median of this Andrews pitchfork. And before it does that, obviously it would have to reach the lower bound of this Andrews pitchfork. But keep an eye if DJT starts to rally. If you're really one of those people into fundamental stock stories, notice what happens with the fundamental explanation for why DJT rallies, if it does, and see if there is really a correlation with the meme stocks. So this is going to look a little ugly because of how long wave 1 is, but that's only to give a target up there. And I do even think this subdivision for DJT is relatively clean. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a large wave 1, wave A. This is wave 2, wave B. So this would be way too wide of an invalidation. But I did want to give what my bias was, where this stock can be heading. And if there really is a correlation with GameStop and DJT and now silver too. Wasn't silver also part of the thesis that, the silver squeeze was being caused by Reddit too? And now all of a sudden, out of nowhere, and also even China's coming back a little bit, just a little bit. China's coming back, but silver, also, by the way, they've got interesting views on these solar energy stocks. There's also the fundamental, more logical reason that silver was put into these solar panels while the prices were quite cheap. Silver is exploding. A lot of the meme stocks are coming back. And DJT is moving with the meme stocks. And there's one group of investors, just to be honest, that is pretty confident they understand what this correlation is all about. And I'll be honest, I think they have the best explanation. So as the Trump trial keeps going on, I would just, if you're interested in fundamentals, this is one where I would say, hey, check out the fundamental stories of what happens with DJT. See if there is really a correlation with GameStop and AMC. I'm not trying to give anyone like a homework assignment, but I know these kind of fundamental topics interest some people. And now we're seeing DJT, silver, and the meme stocks all move together, and the solar stocks are moving together. It's it's an interesting time. It really makes you start thinking about some of those, some of those things that were going on, 3 or 4 years ago. 22.55. Wow. This 0.55 for this low, 0.55 for this high. I think within the cycle from this low, it's pretty cleanly subdivided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. So for a little bit of time, I didn't even mean to plan on talking about this. I think 35.54 is still pretty wide. But DJT does have a wide beta. A little tighter would be the 50% retracement. So I'll use that. 39.55 invalidates. But yeah, let's see. I don't think this stock, if it does go quietly into a wave 3 of a wave 3, this is going to be one that gets back on people's radars, and eventually the fundamental narrative is going to become a little more pronounced. And just how quickly did GameStop and AMC re-enter the chat? And we're seeing silver. I mean, silver is running away. That was a big part of the thesis for a long time. I talked about this being a large wave 1, wave A on the monthly. So I took these time fibs, connected the beginning of wave 1, wave A, with this high of wave 1, wave A. That gave a 5-month time fib. I'm looking for a wave 3 into the 8-month time fib. But we look within this low, a wave 1 and a wave 2 forms. GameStop holds above that low. So I'm going to zoom in within the cycle from that low. It appears that a wave 1 and a wave 2 formed that ended at the 78.6% retracement. The length of wave 1 placed at the wave 2 low says that GameStop can hold that low of 17.70 and head up into the 70s for a minimum wave 3 target before a shallow wave 4 and a wave 5 higher. Let's talk about net. I knocked net out of the park. They've been buying strangles on net, and they were buying strangles on DJT. And MPW and Salesforce today. Looking at net, the long-term count I had pretty well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up. I talked about how this was the highest reading on the weekly RSI, suggesting within this entire cycle, a large wave 5 hadn't occurred. So this was probably a wave 1, wave A. This was a wave 2, wave B that ended at the 78.6% retracement. So I'm going to focus on the cycle from this low on the weekly. I think it's pretty clean. This is wave 1. This is wave 2. That ABC correction is very clear. And then I think from this low, this is a large wave 1. The subdivision's pretty clean. I believe it's subdivided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. And this is an ABC correction. So the downside levels, for some commentary, these wave 1 highs, these small degree wave 1 highs, and these large degree wave 1 highs, always very important to take note of. They're going to be important levels that are often retested in the future and during a bull impulse. Those are going to be typically nice support levels to buy. This is a wave 1, ABC wave 2. This is a wave 1 subdivided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. I believe this is an ABC correction. One way to find the downside levels is to take these retracements. We see right there between, right close to the 61.8% retracement. So this 78.6% fib isn't that great. 116, 39.90. So yeah, the 61.8% retracement is a little too tight at 69. The 78.6% fib is a little wide. This is where taking these extensions can be helpful. We're going to see a much better level doing that to the downside. I believe that is going to be the downside level, or at least the better one. So 69, still pretty tight. This high is 100.90. This high was 116. This low was 90.80. So I think 60.13 is the wide but best invalidation. And I'm going to have 68 be tight. And I believe that Cloudflare will enter a wave 3 of a wave 3. So I talked about Palantir in my last video. I've also talked about Shopify in a recent video. So now the chorus is getting a little louder for kind of this whole group of stocks. Palantir, just to refresh. Again, another meme stock, right? This was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 with the highest high on the RSI, a shallow wave 4, and a wave 5 that ends with momentum divergence. This was an ABC correction that I believe ended between the 100 to 127.2% extension. 18.15 is the invalidation. I also like a little wider the top of this gap, 17.87. I'm looking for the length of wave 1 placed at the wave 2 low to give a wave 3 target. That wave 3 target is about 34 before a shallow wave 4 and a wave 5 higher. 4 Palantir. Salesforce was also on it. Before I talk about Salesforce, actually, yeah, I'll talk about Salesforce right now. Salesforce was on this screen, another software name. So the chorus, I hold, I blended ARC with OARK, and I've collected dividends from that for a long time. I still own OARK and a little bit of ARC. And so for growth in general, and really they've been pretty damn good for Salesforce. Not perfect, but pretty damn good. Did in wave 2 at the 78.6% retracement. Did make a new all-time high. Nobody's perfect. But yeah, I do believe that from that low, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. That's what I said. Ended with momentum divergence, highest high on the RSI, 5, 3. So we got that 5 waves to a new all-time high. From this low, I think the count's pretty interesting. An ABC correction ends at some point from this high. That's basically been proven by the new all-time high being made. It might be a truncated wave C, which just means it's shorter. Actually, no, that's perfect. Okay, that's the 100% extension. Yeah. So from this low, this is an ABC correction. Or from this high, this is an ABC correction. From this low, I believe it's a pretty clear wave 1. Wave 2. Wave 3. Wave 4. And so this wave 3, it makes the highest high on the RSI within the cycle from the weekly. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, shallow wave 4. I'm expecting wave 3 was bigger than wave 1. So finding the wave 5 target is pretty clear from this point. The only thing I'll say is that Salesforce could be a wave 1 and a wave 2 and another wave 1 and another wave 2. While in the long term, that would be more bullish. It would be more of a headache in the short term, and because the correction for wave 2 is typically deeper than the correction for wave 4. I do believe this is a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and a shallow wave 4 correction is the proper count. So at least another high is going to be made for wave 5. I think actually, though, the wave 5 is going to be the length of wave 1. So looking right here, this high is 318.71. This low is 193.68. So I think 256, this 50% fib is the best level. Because if it goes below that, I'm probably going to call this a wave 2 correction. So I'm going to call this the wave 4 invalidation. Then the wave 5 target is going to be the length of wave 1 placed at the wave 4 low. That would give a wave 5 target up to the 370s, sometimes to be safer. I'll take it down to this invalidation just to get a lower number in case that's not the exact bottom. That would give a wave 5 target of 365. So that looks good for Salesforce. MPW, I've been averaging into MPW. I'm trying to get a little lower. They've been buying strangles on this for a bit. My long-term chart is that this is an ABC correction. and this is a large wave 1 slash wave A. So I've talked about a lot of real estate stocks, and so that would be in line with the analysis for this. It's kind of a unique real estate stock. It doesn't have the prettiest subdivision from this low. I do believe it's an expanding diagonal. Subdivided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. So I'm going to keep averaging in, try to get my average cost basis probably a little lower, but I've been collecting dividends on this for a bit. I've been averaging as it's been, in this 4 or 5 range. I'm trying to get my average below 10, but I've collected a lot of dividends from this, and I think that it's going to turn around. I think that this is an ABC correction. Taking the depth of this ABC correction for time fibs, I like how this entire ABC correction. I like how this 8-week time fib, this 8-month time fib, is right around this super cycle low, and I like how we didn't break this low from this high, from this all-time cycle. So that suggests that this is still very valid. That this is a large wave 1, wave A. This is an ABC, wave 2, wave B that ended, and that a wave 3, wave C in progress could begin. And this is the largest hospital real estate landlord in the country. I believe it owns 437 hospitals or units like that. I think it owns 437 hospitals, but it has other ways. They're mostly hospitals. And so it's the largest hospital landlord. It's a little bit of a unique REIT. So it has its own struggles. It has a negative earnings per share for the trailing 12 months, and there's plenty of REITs that don't. But this is one the institutions have been buying straddles and strangles on. Are they going to call it a meme stock when it turns around? It kind of reminds me of B. Riley Financial, or just one of these stocks that it's a huge monopoly. They're going to have to explain. B. Riley Financial isn't a monopoly by any means, but just like why is this stock going to have crazy moves? Because they buy strangles on this. This is not going to move like some stable hospital REIT. I'll add that to the analysis, that this is not when this does rally. If it does rally, it's going to be not to the way that we expect real estate stocks to. So I think that's pretty fair. Circling back around though, man, you guys never really hear me say watch the fundamentals, but I think just like the pandemic, the stock market has pulled some correlations out of nowhere, and retail isn't really aware of them. Only a few retail traders, a few groups are aware of this correlation between DJT and AMC theaters and Gamestop. This guy appeared to think there was a correlation between Roaring Kitty potentially knowing something about Virgin Galactic. So I don't know what's going on. Some people think it's called the Great Awakening. Some people laugh at this. I'll tell you what, man. I saw this and I started to wonder if maybe the Great Awakening's right. Wave 3 begins for DJT. Wave 3 begins for GameStop. Wave 3 begins for AMC theaters. I don't know, man. I read stuff like this and I think that people are well ready to be awakened.